Yeah, so Drew Gooden posted a new video. It's called Technology Isn't Fun Anymore, which I think is going to be very interesting because I've not seen the video, but I think I agree. I think I have some things I want to interject on top of this topic as well.
Hey guy, a couple weeks ago I was at an Airbnb trying to figure out what the $200 cleaning fee is supposed to cover if they're just going to make me do a bunch of chores anyway, when we realized that episode 4 of Severance had just come out. And what great timing, this place had one of those beautiful...
I've heard everybody talk about Severance over the last couple of weeks, and I have no idea what the fuck it is.
Full 85-inch frame TVs that make it look like an art piece on the wall. They had surround sound. They had a telescope pointed at the TV. I couldn't imagine a more perfect place to watch what would turn out to be a slightly confusing episode of television. So we turn it on, and instantly we're like, why does this look like shit? I know that this TV costs thousands of dollars, and yet the moment anything moves on screen, it turns into this jumbled, blurry mess. But of course, because this kind of thing has been happening for years, we knew it was because of True Motion, or Motion Plus, or whatever this TV calls that.
Yeah, some random TV setting that they add in to try and fix things, but it makes things worse. You know what? Don't actually own a TV. That's a lie. I have one 19-inch TV, which I used to play Xbox on my desk before I had like an extra monitor. I had like a 19-inch TV when I used to play Destiny 1.
Where it smooths out every frame and makes everything you watch look like it was shot on an iPhone. The best thing about this feature is that it's always on by default, and nobody I've ever met likes it. It's also named something different by every manufacturer, which makes searching the menus for it a little adventure every time. Now, I know I'm not even close to being the first person to complain about this feature. It seems like everybody hates it. But that's also why it's so confusing to me. If so many people hate this, why, after over a decade, are TV manufacturers still forcing this down everyone's throats? How do they benefit from making their product look worse? I remember ecstatic.
This happens in video games too. Every first-person game has motion blur turned on, and everybody goes in and turns it off.
Buying this Samsung in 2019 and almost returning it because the default settings made it look so bad I thought it was defective. I just kind of sat there in denial about it for almost a week before being like, this can't.
In some games it can look good. In most competitive games it's just distracting. Maybe it's fine in single player for some people. I always turn it off. But in multiplayer, it's literally just a debuff.
Be right, there has to be a setting I can change. Tragically though, a lot of people don't know about this setting. They don't realize their TV is actively sabotaging their viewing experience, and if this doesn't describe you, it probably describes someone you know. And by that I of course mean your parents.
What did the video break?
So sit down with them, explain what's going on, tell them
is this purposeful?
Why you get a headache whenever you watch TV. Why you get a headache whenever
my video was just broken, okay?
And reiterate that it's not their fault. Show them this video by a guy named Noodle.
Let's say it's on twos. The AI doesn't smooth anything between the first and second frames of a single drawing because there's nothing to smooth. They're the same picture. This means that what was originally a perfectly fine 12 FPS animation is now a janky mess.
Or if they'd prefer to hear it from someone they know, have Tom Cruise.
Oh, also, this is happening in graphics cards right now too. I don't know if Drew will go on to this. And it's particularly this is happening with Monster Hunter Wilds right now. Wait. We might have to load up Paint for this. When you play a game, right, you got your FPS. So imagine if you're playing a game at 60 frames per second, right? 60 FPS. And this is like normal rasterized frames. This is what like normal frames are. This is like 60 FPS rasterized. So you get every, you got like 60 of these little, these are all frames. These little lines are all frames, right? You get 60 of these lines every second. And that's like a little image, 60 images every second, which you see. When you turn on frame gen, what it does is it creates an AI frame between every thing and boosts you up to 120 FPS. But these frames in between are not real. They are an AI creation of a guesstimate between this frame and this frame. So it kind of guesses the middle and does that. But this only doesn't look shit at high frame rates if you're already getting 60 frames or more, because the amount of time you see the AI frames isn't, you see one every 20th of a second. Sorry, 120th of a second. Out of the the 120 frames you see, you see 60 fake ones, but you see a bunch of real ones in between. If you run a game at 30 FPS, which is what Monster Hunter Wilds is suggesting, 30 FPS rasters, but 60 frames with AI generated frames, it means these frames are a lot more spaced out. So that means you hover on the fake ones longer, and because there's less time, because these two images are further apart from each other, right? The one that it makes in between is a worse guesstimate, because these two frames are a lot further apart from each other than the 60 FPS frames, which are closer together. They want you to use AI frame generation at a low FPS to make you up to 60 FPS, right? But it makes the game actually just look worse because it creates AI frames that'll look worse. But then if you run it at 60, the AI frames don't look as bad because the real frames are closer together. And Monster Hunter Wilds is banking on you turning this on to make the game work well, instead of making the game work good. And it's bad. This is why I don't like new graphics cards. They're relying on shit like this instead of actually making good improvements. Back to the video.
Who's explain it?
Video interpolation, or motion smoothing, is a digital effect on most high-definition television.
I'm Tom Cruise. Just make sure they...
It's basically what he's talking about here. Kind of. Where it makes up a fake frame in between every frame, but the further the frames are apart, Well, I think interpolation doesn't make it a fake frame, it just doubles up frames.
Never find out about the whole Scientology thing. You cannot ruin Top Gun for your dad. That movie's very important to him. Now, I will admit, I was a little surprised reading some of the comments on this video, seeing so many people disagree. I didn't know people liked it when the $100 million movie they're watching looks like a soap opera. Now, I understand, of course, from a gaming perspective, people preferring higher frame rates.
Oh, wow, we are talking
I
about
don't
games.
think that logic applies to movies. Games are interactive, so generally, the smoother something is, the more responsive it feels. But you're not interacting with the movie, you're just watching. It doesn't need to be perfectly smooth. In fact, I think part of what makes a movie look like a movie is the sort of ethereal nature it has. It doesn't look exactly like the way the world around you does through your own eyes, and I don't think it should. I saw someone say they like it because it shows the flaws in movies you couldn't see at 24 FPS, and it's like, no, the interpolation is creating those flaws. It's not reverting a film back to its original settings. It's not a director's cut your TV's giving you private
That is a wild argument.
It's just generating new frames based on what it thinks should go in between the
Yeah, it's exactly what I talked about. So this is happening. This is what frame gen does on your computer for video games. But because you can't interact with the fake frames, if you try and click on a fake frame, you have to wait until it goes to a real frame. So it does add input lag. Because you can't interact with a fake frame because it's not real.
One. That's where the errors come from. You're not watching a more authentic version of a movie.
Higher frame rate in movies looks weird and like moving too fast. I don't think I watch enough shows to notice. I really watch anime, but that's all like 20. What was it? Is it on 24 or is it on 30? I don't know.
Movie because Sony Motion Flow added a bunch of blurry auras around every fast-moving object. The most authentic version of a movie is watching it the way it was filmed. You shouldn't have to change anything. And I think more than anything else, that's what really aggravates me about this feature, is the hubris of it. There are so many deliberate choices that go into making a movie look a certain way.
I cannot imagine watching Spider-Verse with like that frame shit added on. It's like the frame rate literally tells part of the story in Spider-Verse. Like he starts off at 12 FPS when he's in spider powers, and at the end of the movie he's running at 24 with the rest of the world because he's learned how to master his powers. The animation is caught up. The frame rate is literally part of the story in Spider-Verse.
In those decisions that know way more about cinematography than I do, so I trust their vision. Why can't TV manufacturers do the same? Why do they look at a beautifully shot television show
here's why. It's because they've run out of things to because they can't make an 8K TV and sell it to everyone. They just make up shit like this so they have a reason to make a new TV so people will buy it. The same is happening with graphics cards. They make up shit like this because they can't actually make a better product that people will buy. it might be slightly better, like a 2% improvement, but people won't buy it. So they make up features to make you want to buy something new. And the same has been happening with phones for the last 5 or so years as well.
Problem that they need to fix. Anyway, this experience got
Like
me thinking
a
about
phone right now, he might end up talking about phones in this. It kind of makes sense, but like I just upgraded my phone like 2 months ago to the Pixel 9. I used to have a Pixel 6, so it's been about like 3 or 4 years since I actually upgraded. So I think that's a good enough time period to actually upgrade. But I cannot tell a noticeable actual difference between this phone and my last phone, apart from this thing came with a bunch of AI shit, which I uninstalled. That's the only difference, is that the Pixel 9 came with a bunch of like AI shit. And I uninstalled all of it. They added AI in, so I would buy it. So more people would buy it. And it's like not, the phone itself isn't actually, and that like is probably about 5% better than my Pixel 6. I already got this because my Pixel 6 screen like was being really unresponsive. Like the screen was just crashing out. And I also hate that this thing looks more like an iPhone now, and I hate the way this thing looks.
technology in a more general sense and how my excitement towards it has waned over time. Sometimes it seems like we kind of already figured everything out. You can communicate with anyone in the world instantaneously. You have immediate access to every piece of music ever made. You can pay some guy to deliver a cold burrito straight to your door, and it only costs $70. This is the peak of humanity, baby. There's nowhere else to go from here.
True.
Except backwards. So many things now seem to just invent a new problem so they can sell you the solution. Or if we do create something novel and revolutionary, it's only going to stay that way long enough for us to kill all our competition, allowing us to ruin our thing and make it infinitely more expensive.
There was a time where streaming services seemed like the final frontier of at-home entertainment, a marriage of cost and convenience.
This is crazy.
That made all previous options obsolete. I mean, my DVDs are just taking up space, and even if
I don't actually pay for any streaming streaming services. Here's how it is, specifically for like movies and TV. It's like, 10 years ago, well, I guess it was closer to 15 years ago at this point, right? But when Netflix came about, all of a sudden, it was way more convenient to use Netflix, because then the illegal alternatives, right? Because all of a sudden you just pay, what was it at the time, like £7 or £6 at the time, like 10 years ago. You pay this one price, but you just get every show and every movie, and you can just, and it's all that. But now everything's all fragmented across like 20 different things, and it's becoming really, really expensive. It's like it's just not worth it anymore to spend all the money across like different places, and half of it's not even that good, and it's all exclusive. Like, imagine if like, okay, this kind of does happen, but it's not like that bad. But like, imagine if Taylor Swift's new albums were only on Spotify or only on Apple Music. Now, I know Spotify does do like Spotify sessions, which are covers that Spotify pay artists to do, but they're like one-off songs. But imagine if like a whole artist's discography was locked to one music streaming platform. It would be really weird, right? If you had to have on your phone Spotify, Tidal, Apple Music, YouTube Music, everything on your phone, just so you could listen to all the songs that you want. It would not be worth it. But they do that with TV shows. It'd be so much better if every site just got everything. Then they sold themselves some of the features that they have, like music streaming services do. I just use YouTube for music. Well, luckily, I pay for YouTube Premium, and I have done since YouTube Premium came out. So I use YouTube Music, which basically is just like using YouTube. You can literally listen to on the YouTube Music app, you can listen to the audio from any video on the entirety of YouTube. Well, you can even watch the fucking video through the fucking app too if you want. They used to sell movies and songs in the Google Play Store. Yeah. They still do that on iTunes. If a song's on Apple Music, you can buy it on iTunes. But the thing is, Google moved... Yeah, they moved the music stuff from Google Play Music to YouTube Music, and then they moved the movie stuff. You can rent movies on YouTube still. You can rent movies and TV shows on YouTube, because they realized they were running like two of the same thing. But yeah, you can do it on YouTube. This is crazy.
I gotta get up, dust off my Xbox, navigate a bunch of menus, switch discs every 4 episodes. Netflix is so much better than this. until, of course, they quadrupled their price and got rid of every show you ever wanted to watch. So slowly but surely, a lot of people are moving away from the unreliable streaming services and going back to physical media. Things like Blu-rays, vinyls, tooth tunes. And I've actually begun...
Yeah, I've been kind of doing this, but I bought an iPod like 6 months ago, and I've been using that quite a bit when I go out. And so I mean, again, I still pay for my YouTube music. I pay for YouTube Premium. It's for the no ads on the fucking YouTube website. It's honestly like if I could only pay for one subscription service, it would be YouTube. It clears for me personally because I use YouTube every day. Yeah, I have an iPod and I've been downloading music from Qobuz and Bandcamp are the main places. Sometimes I have to get it from Apple Music, from iTunes, but it's totally worth it. IMO, just get like an MP3. It feels so much better to just like listening to like, because there's no algorithm pumping music into your brain. You just pick what you want to listen to and just let it run, dude. Having that little bit, that control back in your life of what song is going to come up next feels pretty nice.
Migration process myself, but because I'm incredibly stupid, here's how it's going.
Even for stream, I don't use Spotify. This is all my music that I have, which is synced to my iPod. This is how I play music on stream. This is Music B.
Me so far. I started watching Friday Night Lights for the first time in December. It was something I had wanted to watch for years but always put off, which is crazy because it's a show about football, which I like, with a bunch of music from Explosions in the Sky, a band I grew up listening to all the time. It kind of felt like they made this show specifically for me, and still I was like, I'll get around to it eventually. It wasn't until a couple of months ago that I finally gave it a chance and got really into it. 12 days before it was going to be removed from Netflix. For the last 2 weeks of December, I binged as much of the show as I could, as quickly as I could, until around 3 a.m. on New Year's Eve. 13 minutes left in the season 2 finale. I was given an abrupt error message telling me that my beloved show was now gone. At this point, I was pretty invested, and I didn't just want to wait until it was maybe on Peacock one day, and I certainly didn't want to spend $2 per episode to digitally own it. So I decided what better time than right now to begin my brand new Blu-ray collection, starting naturally with a show I had yet to watch even half of. So about $37 and 8 days later, my Blu-rays show up at my door and I'm ecstatic. I can't wait to see how season 2 ends. So I pop the disc in my computer, try to play it, and it does not work. Turns out the external DVD drive I bought a couple years ago isn't compatible with Blu-rays, so I'm gonna have to buy another one. No problem, what's another $110? Jesus Christ. Well,
Huh? Literally just buy one of these. Isn't this what PlayStations were made for? PlayStation 2s were DVD players, PlayStation 3s were Blu-ray players.
I already bought the Blu-rays, I'm not gonna not watch them. So I bite the bullet on the Blu-ray drive. It shows up 2 days later, pop it into my computer, so excited to learn what will become of Brian Smash Williams. Huh, that's weird. Doesn't seem to work on VLC. Or the Any DVD app. I guess I could spend $20 on Blu-ray player, play Blu-ray, but that one says in its description that it doesn't play Blu-rays. At this point, I'm a little frustrated, but even more than that, I'm confused. So I go where I always turn to in times of crisis, a Google search with the word Reddit thrown onto the end. And believe it or not, even on Reddit, home of some of the most dedicated people on the planet, every single answer I see is, nah man, Power DVD 23 Essential is your only option. There is one way to watch Blu-rays on your computer, and it is with this.
There's one app that does it on PC. A lot of DVDs come out of physical games, so I have ways getting an Xbox with a built-in disc drive. The last physical game I bought was Breath of the Wild, and that's because I got it with my Switch. I've also been a PC gamer since like 2009 or something. I bought the disc for Portal 2. When it came out, when Portal 2 came out, I bought the disc, right, from Game, or was it Game Station? I can't remember. Game or Game Station, whichever one it was. And I took the disc home, I put the disc inside of my laptop, and all it did was activate a key on my Steam account to download the game. And that was in, when did Portal 2 come out? 2011. I love Steam, and Steam is the best place to play games, but you don't actually own any of your games on Steam. I do not own any of these games. You just own a license to play them. If Steam goes down, this is all gone.
You want to know how much that app costs? $80. And it's like, I don't want to spend another $80, but I've already spent more than that just to make it to this point. I have to see this through to the end. Anyway, I bought the app, and it works most of the time. Although I should probably say it's been doing this thing now where it tells me my cloud subscription has expired, and I need to visit the Cyberlink members zone for.
Dude, I also hate this shit. That you like every time you download a program, you have to sign in to be able to do anything in it. Even though I think Nvidia's fixed this now, right? But for like the last like 7 to 8 years, you had to log in to download the new drivers for your fucking GPU. It was, oh god. I think the SteelSeries app does it too. Log in to fucking configure your fucking mouse. You already need my account so you can have my data. That's the only reason why they make you make an account, is so they can have your data, so they can start selling you shit. If there's an actual reason to have an account, I'll make one. But there's no reason for me to sign in to an account to configure mouse settings or download GPU drivers. You didn't need to log into the Nvidia thing, but it was the way that they wanted you to do it. It's crazy shit, dude. I hate this shit.
So, money well spent. Long story short, I spent $227 to watch a.
If an app makes me try and sign in, I will just delete it. If I go on a website, even if I go on a website and it's like, oh, you can't do, you need to sign in, even if it's a free login, I'm not gonna do it. Why do I need to log in? It's actually frustrating. Like, you have to sign in to do shit. It's so annoying. I hate that. Having to have an account for like every app you download. Like, if I download an app on my phone and the first thing it tells me to do is make an account, I just uninstall it, bro. Like, it's just not. It's not worth it. There needs to be a legitimate reason why having an account is worth having. Is that if it's just to use the app or just to use the platform, the website, I'm not doing it. If there's like an actual reason to make an account, I'll do it. But most of the time there isn't. Most of the time there isn't. It's just frustrating.
Show that I could have seen on Netflix at any point over the past 7 years. And to be honest, I'm not even sure if I like it that much. Also, I know what you're thinking. Drew, couldn't you have just put the Blu-rays into your PS5,
oh,
you moron?
Yeah.
Yes, I could have.
He has
but
a PS5.
The whole point of watching it on my computer was so I could second screen RuneScape on my other monitor. What part of dopamine addiction do you not understand?
Sorry, that was more of a story about my own incompetence than a rant about the state of technology. So here's a rant about the state of technology. I live in Orlando, Florida. My favorite basketball team is the Orlando Magic. They play basketball 20 minutes from my house, and I am not allowed to watch them on TV because I live too close. I can sign up for NBA League Pass and watch any other team play except for the one in my city because of blackout restrictions. What do you think, I'm stalking them or something? Whoa, this guy's obsessed. He lives right down the street.
That is crazy.
I don't understand this restriction, and frankly, I never will. Is the point to incentivize me to buy a ticket to go see them in person? They play 41 home games a year. Am I supposed to go to all of them? And if that was the point of it, they wouldn't also black out road games unless you expect me to travel with the team. Guys, do you want me to follow them around or not?
That is weird.
Getting mixed signals here. Anyway, here's what I've had to do the past 6 years as a paying customer in order to watch my team play. First, I had to sign up for Sling TV because they were the only ones with the Fox Sports Florida channel. Then those two couldn't reach an agreement, so I had to switch to Fubo TV because they were the only ones with the Fox Sports Florida channel. Then those two couldn't reach an agreement, so I had to switch to YouTube TV. Can you guess where this is going? Yeah, they couldn't reach an agreement, and now I can't watch it anywhere, this time in the middle of a season. So out of desperation, I sign up for NBA League Pass, which again prohibits me from watching my team because I live too close. The workaround here is using a VPN to change my location to somewhere else. So now I'm paying for 2 different services just so I can watch the least popular team in the NBA. Adam Silver should be
yeah, it's that's a fucking mess, dude. That is crazy. That would be like saying you can't play GTA because you live in LA or something. Well, yeah, because again, the only logical reason why they would block it is to get people to go to the game. Again, that would be obscenely expensive for the vast majority of people. There's extremely limited number of seats. As he said, like, they're not even playing in Florida half the time, right? I don't know how it works, but in football, the only sport that I have vague knowledge about, they play half the games away and half the games at home, right? I assume it's about 50-50. Do they only do it for the Orlando, or do they do it for every?
Are freaks like me out here.
I assume
He
they do
should
it for
have
every
a photo
team.
of me in his office that says #1 customer. So what do they do to thank me for my loyal patronage? Block the use of VPNs 6 months later. Do you guys want my money or not? I'm trying so hard.
Yeah, this is the worst part, is when people want it, like the convenience of doing things legally happened again about 10 years ago, right? When doing things legally kind of became the most convenient way to do it. As the legal way gets more shit like this happening, and the illegal way catches up, has improvements over these last 10 years too. The illegal way starts becoming way more enticing because it's less of a fucking headache. People like Drew want to just fucking watch things, but and are more than happy just to pay their, I don't know how much the fucking NBA League Pass is, like £100 a year or $100 a year or whatever, so they can watch all the NBA games. I'll do it, but they just can't. I interrupt this video to remind you to press the subscribe button. You probably haven't done it yet, and it's good for the algorithm. You made it this far, so you should do it.
To give it
It's
to
so
you. Okay, now we're in
stupid.
2022, and finally, there's a streaming app specifically made for people to watch their local team play. It's a miracle. It's called Bally Sports, and it is the worst app I've ever used in my life. It freezes during commercials. The feed cuts out constantly, especially in the fourth quarter. Not that I wanted to watch that part anyway. It refuses to remember my login information in between games. Did I mention they play 82 of these every year? I'm getting real tired of typing in my password every night. While all of this is happening,
That's
behind the
crazy, yeah.
scenes, Bally's parent company is not doing so well. They lose over $1.2 billion in 3 months. What were they, setting it on fire?
What the
Fast
fuck?
forward a few more months to 2023, and Bally is filing for bankruptcy. Well, it was nice while it lasted. Nope, they're still going. Somehow. Turns out I don't know what bankruptcy actually means. What I do know is that this probably doesn't bode well for the growing list of technical problems they apparently don't have the money to address. So that brings us to today, where after 3 tumultuous years, I'm excited to report that the app is now a little bit more reliable. But also it's been rebranded to the FanDuel Sports Network, which means every second of every broadcast is pretty much just one big ad for gambling. I should make a
Oh, they got gambling money. Oh, amazing.
video about that. I know that this is one very specific gripe about a very specific problem, but I feel like there's so many things like this now. So many companies that seem to get their rocks off from making us have to jump through hoops in order to do anything. They're constantly merging with some other companies so they can both be sold to a third company. Content bounces around from streaming service to streaming service like a hot potato. We tried to streamline everything and only made it more complicated. I can't keep up. I'm just a lowly consumer. Everything's so confusing.
Yeah.
now. I need a break. An ad break. Let's hear a word from today's sponsor.
Hi, I'm the youngest.
Wow, we love SoFi. I'm sure they
But
make a great
technology was a
product.
lot more exciting to me. I mean, what could be more fun than a gadget? Well, besides a gizmo, of course. But it seemed like most things that came out had a genuine purpose, that there was more of a collective desire to push humanity forward, to provide solutions to actual problems. And I know that this is all still happening, but it seems like so many innovations now are just new ways to manipulate people, or spy on people, or replace people altogether. I'm not excited about what might be created in the future as much as I'm fearful of it. I'm fearful of what AI is threatening to do to every job on Earth.
Is this just old take? Because I feel this too, and I'm worried that I feel like when I say it, I feel it's just like boomer take. And again, I'm nearly fucking 30. Again, like phones haven't had like anything good happen to them since they removed the fucking headphone jack, basically. Again, I've been using my iPod more and more as just like a way to listen to music, just because it's less intrusive. I think YouTube Music is a lot better than Spotify was. Spotify is really bad for shoving just like shit I don't care about in my face. Everything having to have like an AI function inside of it when it doesn't add anything is really annoying too. A good use of an AI thing that happened to me recently was Affinity Photo added AI object selection. And specifically, they say that the AI data is never transferred outside of your computer. It doesn't go to anyone. It just uses it to detect the edges on objects, but it's not used for training, and it's not used for anything. Object removal, so you can just basically click an object and it'll, like a person, let's say, in a photo, and it will perfectly cut them out instantly. That is a good use of an AI function. Whereas, like, why do I need AI frames in my games? It's actually trolling. AI chatbots. Well, I've never actually used one. I know people actually use these. Like, let me know if you actually use an AI chatbot to, like, ask a question to try and figure something out. Because I've never done it. Maybe this is old take. Maybe I'm boomer. But if I need to figure something out, I will just Google it. And, like, you know, ancillary information from people on the internet, doesn't, like, the AI just say things wrong, like, 70% of the time anyway? Well, no, like, is only right, like, 70% of the time anyway. Depending on, like, how specific your question is, because it just gets its data from Reddit questions anyway. Doesn't it just scan Reddit answers and half of them are wrong or outdated? So it just tells you outdated info? So I might as well just use Google myself to get the answer. I don't know, bro. Maybe I'm just old, that take, but again, I stripped fucking Gemini out of my fucking phone. I didn't even use, like, the old OK Google or whatever.
Robots that keep popping up. What if one of them tries
AI
to
bots
kill
like
me?
this are
Or
crazy.
worse, what if we fall in love? How am I supposed to explain that to people? For every OLED Steam Deck and surprisingly powerful tiny Mac computer, there seem to be 10 wearable AI
Yeah, the Steam Deck was really good. Is really good, and that's actually pushing things forward a lot. I think Steam Deck is one of the best pieces of tech to come out in the last, like, 5 years, partially because it's made PC gaming portable, and it brought PC gaming a more console-like experience, so more people can transition over to playing on PC, which I think is just better. As, again, I've been playing PC for like 15 years, and also it's, like, bringing Linux usage up a lot and building Linux up, so it's competing with Windows, which also Windows has its own fucking AI shitty problems with, like, recode and all this other shit. So it's giving Linux a, like, base. And I've been switching between Windows and Linux for the last year or so. Like, my laptop is just Linux because I just use it to watch videos and stuff in bed. Windows really wants you to sign in with, you don't have to, but they really, really make you want to sign in with a Windows account, with a Microsoft account. Most of the time, I don't actually have a problem with Windows. It's not like I have anything to hide with all these things. It's that if you give them all this info, when they get hacked, some other fucking idiots got all your info because they've been hacked. That's the main problem. It's like, I don't want to give my info to a random company because if they get hacked, I'm fucked. That's the biggest thing, the biggest problem.
Because it never stops showing you ads. Or what if you could wear your phone on your head so it could never stop showing you ads? I remember when touchscreen smartphones came out, and I practically started drooling at the idea.
Yeah.
This device, which I hate more than anything in the world, is incredible. It's truly amazing what this thing is capable of, but now the question is, where do you go from here? The jumps in phone technology have become pretty unnoticeable, despite how hard they're trying to get us to notice them. When we went from landlines to cell phones, that was crazy. When they added a full keyboard so you didn't have to spend 30 seconds typing one word, that was crazy. And then they added email and a really good camera and a touch screen and a GPS and the internet and a compass. And now you can pay for parking on here, and you can download apps that stop you from spending too much time on other apps. Oh man, that line's really starting to slow down, huh? And this phone costs 4 times as much as this one did? No, that makes sense.
Yeah, again, this is the same thing that's happening with fucking GPUs.
You Google, has technology peaked? Their AI overview will tell you, no, of course not. I'm getting stronger every day. And consider this your second strike, Drew. That's awfully ominous. And what was my first? No, of course.
The actual tech of a phone isn't, because we had the giant spike in actual, like, technological progression, right? Between, like, 2005 to, like, 2015, that spike in technological, like, microprocessing, like, making phones, that's where most of that innovation happened. And now they can't actually make, like, the hardware that much better, or they haven't found a way to make the hardware that much better yet. So now it's all just, like, software shit, and that software shit is now AI shit. but it's stuff that isn't actually better. And there's no reason why something from 2000, again, there's no reason for why a lot of this shit wouldn't work on an old phone. If a phone from 2015 got like security updates still to this day, which most of them don't, it would be perfectly usable. The only reason why you need a more powerful phone is because the operating system gets added with a bunch of like new animations and like needs to be able to run fucking Apple Intelligence or whatever. A phone from 2015 doesn't need to do that because it's not part of the fucking phone. It will still browse the web. Nintendo Switch runs on 12-year-old hardware, yeah, but also this thing, Nintendo Switch feels like it runs on 12-year-old hardware. The games are kind of bad, don't run great. The Switch was really good when it came out, right? Because it was a new form factor. Like the you can dock it, you can take it out. But now the Steam Deck's out now. The Switch has got to compete with the Steam Deck now. The Switch 2 has got to compete with the Steam Deck and just, you know, all the other handheld PCs. And you can pick up the cheapest Steam Deck is $350, and the Switch 1 is $300. And this Steam Deck is like twice as powerful. The only reason to own a Switch is for Nintendo games, and Nintendo should stop doing that. At least the Pokemon company should. The reason to buy a Switch, yeah, the Switch itself isn't that good. The games are.
Technology hasn't peaked, but like, it does feel like it's starting to level off a bit. The improvements between video game consoles used to be astronomical. Now I end up on a side-by-side comparison video squinting as hard as I can trying to spot any difference. In 1995, video games looked like this. 10 years later, they look like this. 10 years after that, they look like this. And in the 10 years since, they look like, wait, which one is a new one? And I know I'm viewing this from a consumer standpoint. I'm completely oblivious to the strides being made in medicine and science and interplanetary defense mechanisms. But it just seems like whenever a new thing comes out, we have to pay a lot.
Especially, bro, the Apple Vision was a huge ass flop, right? All the Apple Vision is a phone that you strap to your head. People are telling Xbox to start giving its exclusives to other platforms, but Xbox makes most of their money through game sales and Game Pass. So more platforms means more money. First off, I think it's only in the last like week or so, right? Didn't like Microsoft say that Halo's coming to PlayStation? That happened like a week ago or something. But before then, it was only Xbox and PC. But spoiler, like Microsoft owns your PC because if you're on Windows. So is it basically an Xbox? But like I think it's something like 80% of people who run Windows, like 12% play on Mac, run Mac, and then it's a little bit spread out through Linux and other things.
Or very little. Technology has gone so far in the wrong direction that people are now trying to find ways to go back. Physical media is making a comeback. Dumb phones are making a comeback. As people become more disillusioned to the future that was promised to us, the best way to break out of it is to recapture a sense of simplicity. And not all of this is just nostalgia. I think some of it speaks to the fundamental difference in how things are made now. You used to be able to own things. Now almost everything is borrowed. You're not buying a product. You're
Adobe is one of the worst, bro. And I broke free of Adobe like 4 years ago. Switched up for DaVinci Resolve and Affinity Designer. Best decision I ever made, dude.
Subscribing to a certain...
And again, the music subscription is the only thing I feel that really makes a lot of sense. And again, I even complained about them in a different video. The only one that really makes sense to me is music subscriptions. Because they're not split off across 50 billion apps. If you're on Spotify or Apple Music or YouTube Music or whatever, like they have like 95% of all music ever made. And you can just search it up and listen to it. And I think that's worth paying the price of one album every month to be able to listen to every album ever made. I think that's a decent trade-off.
I don't own a bunch of music because I'm paying Spotify every month. I'm just temporarily given access.
But then you can also, what I'm doing is buying albums for the stuff that I really do like, or going to shows or buying merch for stuff that you really do enjoy. And you can support that way too.
access to music until I stop paying and then have nothing to show for it. And even if you do buy a physical product, there's no guarantee it's gonna stay in the condition it was in when you bought it. A lot of things now can be remotely updated or even deactivated. The Spotify car thing completely bricked when they stopped wanting to deal with it. A few months ago, Roku forced an update onto all of their TVs, making it so you can't turn the motion smoothing feature off. This company just announced they're gonna start charging a monthly fee so anyone who already bought their thermostat can continue to use it. We're buying things that can be made worse or taken away.
Random sub feeds and stuff like this is it's actually terrible.
Away from us whenever the manufacturer feels like it. So what are we even buying anymore? These things aren't designed to last because the entire economic system in this country is based on perceived shareholder value. If I sell you a product that you only have to buy once and then get to keep it forever, how will I get more money from you in the future? How will line keep go up if transaction over? So things break or become obsolete. A lot of tech devices are more affordable than they used to be, but they're also more disposable. The interface on your 4-year-old smart TV suddenly takes 10 times longer to navigate. Your iPhone 12 suddenly crashes 5 times a day. No, we're not doing that on purpose. But it does kind of seem like a sign that it's time to buy a new one, right? And this isn't a conspiracy or an exaggeration. Technology is making us dumber. Rarely while using...
Yep, birth, spend, die, yep. And I'm not even in a pay our subscription feed. Yeah, well, there was something recently that was like... I can't remember what it was, but like... Which video? It was a video I was watching. Where like... about like cars that came with heated seats, but you had to pay an extra subscription to activate the heated seats, even though you pay they're physically in the car. You just can't turn them on without like a subscription. It was like a car that came with heated seats, but you couldn't activate them unless you paid the subscription to turn them on. If you have the fucking seat, it'll be one thing to like it'll be different, right? If you had to. If it didn't have the heat, like there was an option for the car with heated seats or without heated seats, and they actually didn't have the heaters in them. But if the car physically has the fucking heaters in them, and you making me pay to press the on button, that is wild. Oh, and it was printers as well. They were talking about printers as well. Like some HP printers, even if you have ink in them, you have to pay a subscription fee for in order for it to print. Printers are also just bad anyway, because then. When you buy it, they're way better. Honestly, if you want to, this is the biggest selling point of installing Linux on your computer, dude. If you want to print something, it just works on Linux, providing you've got the ink and your printer isn't gonna fuck up. But on Linux, if you press the print button, it will just print. On Windows, you've got to make sure you've got to have like the right paired app installed. But then it's like the old. But you have a printer from like so long ago that the new version of the app doesn't work anymore. So then you have to go find an old version, and then you've got to print using the app instead of using the program that you're wanting to print from. It's like, God. On Linux, it just works.
While driving, which is a lot of fun. But it's mostly a passive activity. More often than not, you don't open an app in order to do a specific thing. You open an app and just see whatever it chooses to show you. Sometimes you like it, sometimes you don't. Either way, the past hour of your life was entirely decided by an algorithm.
We've been here for an hour, and this video is 20 minutes
You're not
long.
making a decision for yourself. You just turn off your frontal cortex and submit to whatever Mark Zuckerberg has curated for you. And the more we're conditioned to accept this relationship, the easier it is to sell us an AI agent that does all of our thinking for us and that we learn to trust implicitly. I mean, how am I supposed to be excited about technology when this is the direction we're headed in?
It seems like everything is slowly trying to turn into everything else. A new app will come along with one specific niche use and then inevitably get turned into yet another
It's beginning to sound like X.com, the everything
social
app.
Media. Like the Shop app. I've been using this for a couple years because I like the idea of having one account that works across multiple websites. But now, of course, it's just like another thing designed for you to scroll through. I open it up to see how far away my pants are, and it's like, oh hey, you want to buy something else while you're here? You want some Alpha Lion Superhuman Hulk juice? What about Goof juice? Chug juice? Oh, I know what you want. a little cake shaped like Texas. They
That was gamer subs, dude.
also give you rewards, but it amounts to virtually nothing and is really just an excuse to send you more push notifications. Hey, don't forget to use that 14-cent credit before it runs out. It only works on this website that sells hoodies for dogs. You open up the Ring app so you can see who's knocking at your door, and they're like, hey, you want to see this funny video of a goat? Venmo.
What? Ring has its own clip sharing feature? Like it will cause trouble.
Defaults to the page showing you how many of your friends had pizza this week. Why do I need to know that? I bought that light in the corner a few months.
This is one thing I never liked about Spotify, is that people can just see what you're listening to. And I think you can deactivate it, but I never liked that. I've always hated that part about Spotify. People can just see what you listen to. Currently, it's weird.
To go, and the only way to control
I just want to
it
listen
is
to a
through an
song.
app. And you're
Why do
probably
people
thinking,
need to know?
certainly there's no social media aspect to an app that turns lights on and off, and that might just be the dumbest thing you've ever said. Of course it has its own news feed and hashtags. Of course there's a pop-up telling me to take the Govee app user experience survey so I can earn 50 Govee points and a chance to win Govee merch. App is a goddamn...
I mean, considering the amount of Ring camera footage on YouTube, I guess make it their own. Yeah, but it feels really insecure. Like, does it do it automatically? Do you have to provide it post? Like, at least if you upload it to YouTube, you are making that conscious decision to upload where you fucking live to the internet, right? Does the Ring app... I don't know. You have to allow... I hope so. I hope it's something you have to allow. Again, I don't have a Ring. So again, I bought this Pixel 9 like 3 months ago. 2 months ago. Just before Christmas. Whenever the fuck that was. And I installed, what's it called? Calyx OS on this thing, which is a de-Googled version of Android. So it takes out all of the Google stuff. So I run this phone without any Google stuff on it. Why? Because I just don't want Google shoving shit in my face all day. I'm shipping on YouTube right now. The irony. But again, and I had Calyx OS on my old phone on my Pixel 6. I had it for like 3 years. 2 years? 3 years? Something like that. For most of the time I had that phone too. And it's mostly just because like I just don't want shit in my face. And I don't use TikTok anymore for that reason. It's just like I just don't want like a bunch of shit in my face. This is what my Twitter feed looks like. I use this extension to make my Twitter look like old Twitter, so and get rid of all the trending and all the shit on the side. It's just the people I follow in the order that I follow them, in the order that they post. Because Twitter is shit. It really is. But this way I can look at Twitter without wanting to guardian down.
Change to an app that could ever happen. Can't even remember my dream view settings anymore. May as well check all my lights in bin if this is his only way to control them. What a joke. Well, I wanted to respond to this comment saying that I'm just here for the Govee points, hashtag Govee rewards program, but that feature is only available to savvy users. So I agreed to the savvy terms and conditions, and they congratulated me on becoming a savvy user. You're following all of this, right? Instagram has its own TikTok feature. Twitter has its own TikTok feature. And you probably guessed this because you'd never make the same mistake twice. The Govee app has its own TikTok feature.
How did Govee get this right before Twitch did, dude? Like, Twitch, it makes sense for them to have this, and they didn't even do it right.
And I'm tired of it. These apps are all so intent on monopolizing your time that they'll design it in a way that makes it hard for you to leave. You click a YouTube link on the Facebook message.
I also think this is why there's been a bigger resurgence in, like, older style YouTube content recently. Like, more people will just sit and watch like Let's Plays now, like old school like 20-minute episode Let's Plays and like classic like vlog style stuff, and even like streams like this, honestly, where it's just like chill, because like people just want to see real shit and not, they want the internet to be back to where it was, 15 years ago.
Messenger app, and instead of just taking you there, it'll be like, oh, I guess you want to open that app instead, huh? All right, here's a button. It doesn't work though. No, I'm just kidding. It will work if you click it 15 times, and then it will take you to the App Store so you can open the homepage of YouTube and just search for that video yourself. Was that helpful? Good, it wasn't supposed to be. I just noticed the desktop Instagram website has incorporated that thing that's supposed to prevent you from accidentally exiting out of like a checkout screen or a form you're halfway through filling out. But they're just using it anywhere on their website. Literally scrolling through the homepage, I try to leave, they grab my arm and say, "No, are you sure you're done with us? We were just about to show you a really cool ad. Are you sure you don't want to see what it looks like?"
Also, on Instagram or PC, you have to log in. You can't look at it without being signed in.
Sometimes I feel like you don't even like me anymore. It's no wonder so many people are trying to turn the clock back on technology and return to a simpler era. Not so far back that you gotta like eat bugs and sleep on a log, but just back to when these modern conveniences were still exciting and didn't feel so predatory and manipulative. Technological advancements don't feel fun anymore because of the motivations behind so many of them. It doesn't feel like we're trying to make life better when almost everything is designed to be as addictive as possible.
Yeah, I think he's summing it up right. Tech used to be about solving problems. Now it's about retaining your attention. So I hope you've been having a really good time watching this hour-long video so far, and I've had so much of your attention.
These things aren't supposed to be fun additions to your life. They're supposed to be a new thing for your life to revolve around. And no amount of profit or growth will ever be enough. It seems like there's more thought put into how you can continue to charge people for something they already own than to just expand the experience of it in the first place. But hey, at least we're using all that extra revenue to pay the employees, right? Right? Sorry, I'm doing that thing again where I try to provide catharsis by ranting in a critical yet lighthearted fashion, but just end up spreading more negativity in the process. So I'd like to end this video by highlighting some technological innovations that I'm thankful for.
Number one, fiber internet. In 2018, we lived in a house where it would take me 2 hours to upload a 15-minute YouTube video. And during that time, no other device in the house could connect to the internet because I was using all of it. Now I get like 2 gigs per second and it never goes out. That's a luxury I know I take for granted.
I still get like 30 megs down and like 15 up or something.
I should probably say that AT&T almost electrocuted me when they were digging in our front yard, burst into a water pipe, flooded half the neighborhood, and knocked down a power line, leaving live wires dangerously close to the newly installed moat they surprised me with. But they did offer me a $1 credit when I called to complain. I wish I was joking about that. They destroyed our lawn and then offered $1 single as an apology. And you know what? They're still not as bad as Spectrum. Number two, our Nespresso machine. This is the world's greatest invention. It's all the convenience.
Yeah, this is like, these things are like almost like subscriptions, but at least you get something from it, right? You buy the machine, but you know, you're still buying like these pods every time you want a drink, right? The Nespresso pods, every time you want a coffee. But at least you're getting something from it. The recurring payment every couple of weeks, you're buying these Nespresso pods again. You know, you buy one thing, but they're getting you that recurring payment, but you get something for it at least.
Of a Keurig, except it doesn't taste like burnt garbage, and you can actually send the pods back when you're done to have them recycled. I mean, allegedly. They probably just throw them in the ocean like I do. I can't believe these pods are only moderately more expensive than K-Cups. They taste 100 times better, and you don't have to wait 45 minutes for it to cool off. Side note, how much money do you think Sabrina Carpenter turned down to not do a collaboration with them? They had to have asked, right? That's that mean espresso. It was right there. What are you guys waiting for? Some stupid YouTuber to promote your shit for free? Never gonna happen, bozo. Number three, electric razors. Why was I scraping the shit out of my face for so long? These things aren't just better, crazy, but they're cheaper in the long run because you don't have to change the blades all the time. And I can use it on my balls.
Oh, was that it? It was just the 3 things? Sorry, I thought I'd have more time to think of an outro here. Thank you so much for watching.
Yeah,
subscribe
makes sense.
As always, YouTube gives me $100 for every new subscriber, which I like to withdraw as cash and use as kindling to help make it through this brutal Florida winter. So remember, every time you subscribe, you're keeping me and my family warm for a couple of minutes. Thank you for watching. Bye.
Good video. Good video. I agree with him for the most part. A lot of tech companies just trying to, so they can make money off of you. Oh, by the way, Paint has AI generation inside of it too. Microsoft Paint has AI image generation inside of it. Because we needed that. We really needed that.